Hey guys, so this is Kathryn and this is Little Bits of Heaven Homestead. So I'm doing something, I'd say a little bit different, but it's totally different from my normal format. Normally I teach you stuff and share with you whatever project that I'm working on. I thought today that maybe we could just sit and chat. Hey Jim, welcome, it's good to see you. So hey Micro Farm Starter. So today we're talking, and I thought that I've been doing this for almost 5 months now, and I've shared very little about me personally. And I thought since you guys have been following along, that you might want to know a little bit about me and my history. I don't know if that even appeals to you guys, and to be totally honest, I may lose some followers here, and I'm at peace with that. So people either tend to love me or hate me. There is very little in between, and I am totally okay with that. So to give you a bit of my history and what brought me to this point in my life. So Jim says not me, I'm staying. That remains to be seen. We'll see here in a bit. So this is my backyard. This is probably my favorite place in my entire backyard. This is where I come and I spend a lot of time with my Creator. I do identify as a conservative Christian personally, but I cuss like a drunk sailor. I am extremely non-judgmental. I believe that when Jesus says that you shall know us by your fruit, that should speak volumes for itself. So I don't run around sharing my faith with a lot of people, but it is definitely a part of my walk and what brings me to this point. I'm going to start when I was 16. Well, actually, we'll start. I was raised by an atheist and an agnostic, so I was not raised in a family of faith. And I came to my own belief system as an adult, and that's part of my story. So at 16, I started dating a gentleman. He was 20 at the time, so I was 16. He was 4 years older than me, and he was in the police academy. And I fell head over heels in love with him. And at some point, we moved in together. We were together about 4 years. Our relationship bordered on abusive. So it was definitely emotionally abusive. It was definitely verbally abusive. At times it was not quite physically abusive, but it was definitely borderline. He cheated on me a lot, but I was so blind and madly in love with him that I saw beyond all of that. And at some point, there was this realization that it was toxic, and I ran. And I was in a downward spiral. I was definitely throwing my life away. I questioned a lot of my self-worth. I had little to no self-esteem left at that point, and it was probably the roughest point in my entire life. And I'm a survivor, so I definitely would identify myself as strong. That's one of the characteristics and attributes that I pride myself most on, is that I can pretty much take anything on and I am going to conquer it. I am a warrior. So Jim says we all have a past, and some of us have shady pasts, but your past doesn't make you we all make mistakes, and the future is important as long as you learn from your past. Amen. So just a few months after I escaped from this relationship, and I got to tell you that I have total respect for him still, that I will always love him, and he is a part of who has made me who I am, and I greatly appreciate that, and I wouldn't go back and change it for the world. And so it is 25 years later, and I would still call him a friend. I'm grateful for the experience. So because had I not been through that, I don't know that I'd be the person that I am, and I definitely wouldn't be as strong as I am, and I wouldn't have a lot of the things that I rely on every day as far as identifying who I am as a person. So hardship is never a negative. It is what you make it. And so you either become a victim of it or you become stronger for it. And so like I said, I wouldn't change it. So a couple months later, I met and started dating my husband. He was broken, I was broken, and we were both young and dumb. And I don't even know where to go with on that thought, but we're here 21 years later. We're still together. It definitely hasn't been easy throughout it. I would say that we still struggle, as I'm at a point where I'm currently struggling, and I am freely admitting that to you guys, that I spend a lot of time questioning what I'm doing and where my life is headed, and I'm I think that that's not a bad thing, to be introspective, to be self-analytical. I spend a lot of time in this real estate here. If you were to meet me in real life, I'm relatively quiet. So I am extremely engaging. So, and if we were at a party together, chances are real good that I would not be the life of the party. I would be on the periphery, but having a really deep conversation with somebody about something really meaningful. And that's really how I want to live life. I prefer to not be superficial, as I am extremely deep, and I pour a lot of myself into others. So, so Jim says I'm a trucker, so I go all over. Not an offer, but I would love to meet and interact with all of you guys, because in fact this is why I do this. I share not so much for me, and for those of you who don't know, I am a YouTuber because of Julie at Dirt Patch Heaven. And when she reached out to me and said that I need to start sharing my life and put it out here, and that I have information and knowledge. Hey Kathy, North Star Prep Stutter, welcome. So I was really hesitant because I am pretty reserved and quiet. So I don't usually share a lot of me, like me personally, but I pour a lot of myself into others. And I'm not sure that that makes sense. I'm not sure if that is something that can kind of correlate with one another, but it's life in the UP, welcome. So I'm so glad you guys are joining. So John Kramer says you're doing great on YouTube. Thank you, because this is very awkward. It's very strange to be open and raw and share, and especially things like homesteading, because I'm raising animals and then I kill them and I eat them. And I know that that's something that's a lot of people have a problem with. I had a problem with it initially, is taking a life is not an easy thing to do. And as I always pray over our animals, I give thanks for them. I put a lot of love into them. I connect with them on a personal level. I look at them as pets with a purpose. So this has been almost 5.5 years that we've been homesteading. And I can tell you that I got into it because I'm a control freak. And partly because I've realized that I have control of very little. And in fact, I don't control a lot of my thoughts. They just randomly pop in. I do suffer from anxiety. I am easily stressed. And so in order to exercise some control over that, so pets with a purpose is a good way to look at it. That's really, I love my animals, and I know that that's hard for some people to reconcile in their brains, is that we raise them and love them and care for them. I name them, and I can still process them for food because I want them to live lives healthy and with respect. So Brenda says, I believe God put some animals on earth for food for mankind. I agree. The book of Genesis tells us so. So I'm not an overt holier than thou Christian. I believe that I'm not here to judge. I am trying my very best to be the very best New Testament Christian that I can be. I'm not gonna pick apart somebody for their flaws, because I'm a sinner saved by grace, period. So we don't earn our way into heaven, as we are saved because our Creator loves us. And so Kathy says you're trying to be a good steward of what's been given. I really am, and it's not an easy journey. So and I believe, as far as judging others, that I'm not gonna point out somebody's splinter in their eye because I've got a big old frickin' plank in my own. So I'm realistic about that. So judge me by my fruit. So so here I am, as I am definitely not perfect, but I'm trying my best to walk the walk as best I can. So this here is my favorite place in my yard. It's underneath the big oak tree. We've got, you can't see it and the sun's in a really bad spot, but we've got these great big rocks. My kids call it Turtle Rock. This is our favorite place to come out and picnic. It's one of the few places in my yard where I can hunker down and I don't see any other homes. And so this is where I come and commune with my Creator. And it brings me peace. And since I'm struggling the last few days, so Kathy says it looks very comforting and beautiful. Yes, it is. You guys can see I've got my rifle here. I've got this coyote that's been blatantly and blazingly hunting not only my chickens, but he or she, I don't know, ran right out in front of my car today as we got in it. My kid literally just closed the car door, and this coyote ran right out and tried to eat one of my chickens right in front of us. So I got out and chased it, and I'm just has no fear. So let's see, Brenda says, I think you're showing the love of Christ through everyday living. I really try. I do. So, and I've realized this of myself, that I'm very self-sacrificing. I'm self-deprecating. I get told that a lot, that I don't give myself enough credit. And that's very true. I try to balance being prideful, because I get a lot of attention for this, which, while I appreciate, it's very superficial, skin deep. I am one goat horn to the face of being fugly. And so I can't pretend that this is something that is going to last. So Kathy says that's all we can do is try. Don't beat yourself up. I'm going to move this because the sun's starting to hit it. So, so I appreciate that people think that I am attractive, but what I really want to share with people is here and here, because I think that's what really counts. And so I have very little control of my own thoughts. They kind of run rampant, and I do try to rein them in. All we can do is control our reactions. And so I went into, I was very fearful initially. I know that I've shared with you that my third daughter was 9.5 weeks premature. All 3 of my kids have been premature. My second child was born just 1 week before September 11th, 2001. And that hit me really hard. I was hormonal. I looked at this itty bitty baby. One goat horn to the face from ugly. Oh my God, love it. Thank you. So, and it's true. I'm not going to pretend that this is going to last. I mean, we all age. We all, it's skin deep. So, so September 11th hit me hard, and I cried for months. I was glued to the television watching news for months, and I realized how fragile we as individuals are, as society is. I mean, for those of you who experienced it, our nation came to a stop, and it was very scary. It was a wake-up call, because I think that I was in my little insulated bubble thinking that everything would be okay, and then reality just kind of kicked me in the butt. So that started my prepping journey on a small scale, bringing home our third child 9.5 weeks early. She was just this itty bitty peanut. I mean, she was no bigger than my hand. And we had our very coldest winter ever. We hit 25 below with wind chill. Our water pipes froze for 5 days solid because she was 9.5 weeks early and in the hospital for 2 months. And I had just tremendous stress levels. I was never able to breastfeed. So we were highly dependent on running water because we needed things like formula. And because I'm hard-headed, I wanted to do cloth diapers. And I mean, all of this stuff became impossible because we were so dependent on our water. And I thought, living here, we're on 20 acres, we have a well, we have water storage, but it didn't matter. Without electricity, or not without, we had electricity, but the pipes were frozen. And so, I mean, there was no running water. And it scared me. We didn't have preps at that point in time. And we have a business in town, our pipes were frozen there. We have a rental house in town, and our pipes were frozen there too. So I mean, it was this just real wake-up call on how dependent we are. And so I remember first real prep that I would identify with, we went out to Walmart and we bought one of those 7.5-gallon camping jugs that has a little spigot on it, and I just came home beaming, thinking like this was the coolest thing that we had ever done. And it gave me a sense of peace and security, and that really set me on our journey as far as being preppers. And not that we're hardcore survivalists, because I'm realistic in the fact that it wouldn't take long and it wouldn't take much in order, even those who are prepared, I don't think that we would last forever. And so I'm not going to pretend that. We give ourselves a buffer, and that's really all that we can do. But through that, I realized that it didn't matter how much I had on the shelf, it was temporary. And that I became really aware of my own weaknesses. So we were already aware of the weaknesses in the system and realizing that society in itself is fragile. And Jim, as a trucker, you know, it wouldn't take much, I mean, what, couple days with the trucks not running? And we as a nation, we're in big trouble. So I own a steel business, 3 days, yeah, that's what they say. So if you guys are following the crisis in Venezuela, I think they're on day 5, day 6 of no electricity. People are dying. I mean, left and right. People are dying in hospitals, people are dying at home, they don't have clean water. That's terrifying. And not that I have enough that would keep us alive, but we've got a little bit of a buffer. And so that's really all you can do. But having that realization that no matter what we have on our shelves, it's temporary, put me into the homesteading lifestyle. And so what I realized is I personally had very little skills. And that not only were we dependent, but we knew almost nothing. So, I mean, we knew how to open cans. We've been cooking from scratch forever, but I mean, it's so temporary. And so I went out and I found a rabbit. That was my first homesteading purchase, was one rabbit. And for those of you who have ever raised livestock, you know you can't do much with one rabbit. But I was there again, I was proud. I was like, we're gonna do this. And my parents made fun of me because I'm an animal lover. I mean, like a true animal lover. I wanted to be a veterinarian as a kid. I worked for vets for 4 years. Every vet I worked for told me don't do it, that there's very little money in it, that there's a whole lot of liability in it. You have outrageous, I mean just outrageous student debt. And that wasn't really the lifestyle that I wanted. And 90% of veterinary medicine is actually treating the owner of the animals, not so much the animals themselves. And to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of people. So that wasn't. So Jim says, I cried when my dog got his shot, so I feel you, right? So it's funny how we can be so empathetic to our animals, and it's tough. So, Eternal Prep, hello, I'm so glad you joined. So, Kathy from North Star Prep Center says, haha people, we are on very wobbly infrastructure. So true. And to have that realization is heavy, and it's very scary. So I found somebody, I went out and I brought home one rabbit, and my parents made fun of me. In fact, a lot of people made fun of me. They said, you know, that I was going to end up with 100 pet rabbits and that I would never be able to butcher them. And here, I'm going to turn this again because the sun is following. Okay, Serenity Mountain Homestead. Hey, Michelle, I'm so glad you joined us. So I'm going to scoot over here a bit too. So I came home with this one rabbit, and like I said, people were making fun of me. Nobody believed that I would actually be able to butcher it. I questioned it myself, but I was determined to do this, and I was determined to take control. I was determined to learn skills, and that's really what this has boiled down to. It's been a journey of self-growth, which is not easy. It's not easy to be introspective. It's not easy to recognize weaknesses in ourselves. It's not easy to not only recognize it, but then do something about it. So Michelle says, I have one rabbit and she's expecting, and I'm wondering the same for me. You can do it. I can tell you that if I can do it, you can do it. Because although I would not identify as a delicate flower at this point in my life, I am tough as nails. I had a soft heart towards animals. I still do. It's not unusual for me to cry when we butcher. That's always a tough subject to talk about because taking a life is a very serious and heavy thing. But when you go at it saying, you know what, my meat deserves this, and we deserve to have healthy, happy animals, then you can get over that. You can conquer that. I'm not going to tell you that it's easy because it's not. So brought home this one rabbit, and the breeder that I got her from, she's turned out to be an amazing friend. I've turned out to be a mentor to her too. Nancy, hey, welcome. So she said, just saw that I was live. So Lana, welcome. I'm so glad you guys are popping in. So I'm being real and raw here. So again, I've come to the realization that I pour a lot of myself into other people. And the rabbit breeder that I got my rabbits from is no exception. I adore her, and I hope that she feels the same way about me. I've also come to realize that I have loved people far more than I have ever been loved. And that's always a weird realization, but I wouldn't want anything else. I'm okay with loving more than I've been loved, because I think that that is part of my journey here on this planet. I'm going to raise this just a bit because the sun is just following. Okay. So I would definitely prefer to love far more than I've been loved than the alternative, which would be to be loved far more than I love others. And that's definitely not the path that I want. I want to pour myself into others, and I'm totally okay with that. So my friend Wednesday's messaging me talking about my soap being far better than others, which is so cute. Wednesday is one. If you guys are in Facebook groups with me, which I think some of you guys are, I absolutely adore Wednesday, and she's one that I've poured a lot of myself into, and she's poured into me. Julie from Dirt Patch Heaven, I just cannot say enough about her. Amanda, welcome. I'm so excited to see you. So Amanda's my friend from high school, and I've been helping her on her keto journey, or at least I hope I've been helping her. So I don't really have any words of wisdom here other than keep on chugging. So do question yourself, be self-analytical, be self-introspective. Lana says you're perfect just the way you are. Thank you. I'd like to say that, but I'm a mess. I struggle a lot. It's not unusual for me to cry myself to sleep as I'm struggling, and I know that that's probably not what you guys want to hear, that I want to be like totally self-confident, and I'm secure in myself. I do love myself, but I realize that I have a whole lot of weaknesses. I have a whole lot of flaws. And so Nancy says, I just tried my first batch of soap. You inspired me. Oh, I'm so excited about that. I have a ton of soap I need to make, and I'm really slacking on that because I have people who want it, and I'm behind. So Jim says we're all messes in our own way. True. It's so true. And being able to recognize that rather than being prideful and stubborn and saying, you know, by goodness, I am perfect as I am. As Lana says, trust me, you're not alone. I know. Thank you. That's why I'm doing this, and this is why I am so active on Facebook, and this is why I'm here and sharing. Hey, John says we all have flaws. We all do. We're all fucked up in some way, and I'm gonna admit that. I mean, I am a mess at times, and I struggle. So, and I'm okay with that, because you guys need to know that, because I think that we tend to think that it's just us, that we're the only ones struggling and everybody else has their act together. But I want you to know that the people who you think are the strongest, they have their own battles. And I am definitely battling. I battle every day. And I get up and I put my boots on and I battle. So, Eternal Fret says, so sad I've lost you. Oh, I'm sorry. And I'm okay with that too. So, because I am battling, and I am a child of God, and He loves me the way that I am, even though I am not perfect. So, and I'm okay with losing some people here because I'm raw and I'm real. And so John says, you look like a strong and friendly lady. I really try. So I am a blend of strength and weakness, and I'm okay with that. So just know that you're not alone, and it's okay to, so God uses broken vessels. Oh, amen, Nancy. So I am thankful for that, because God, he meets me where I'm at. And because I am not perfect, I'm not going to judge others. I'm not going to put condemnation and criticism on others. And I'm going to love them where they're at, because you know what? If you're loving people in their brokenness, that is where we truly get to reflect our faith and our walk with God. So Nick says, hang in there, lady. Aw, Nick, I adore you. Thank you. So, and it's good to see you here. So Nick knows some of my battles. So really, if we're not at our weakest at times, God can't work with us and on us. So I try to put up my emotional walls. So going back to my first relationship when I was 16 to 20 and dating that police officer, I was truly broken. And I remember laying in bed crying, praying out to God that I operate with no emotions. I begged him to make me emotionless. I said that I would gladly give up happiness in order to not feel sadness. And I think to some degree he honored that, as I definitely can be emotionally distant. So I have lots of walls, and that may or may not be a good thing. And I'm working at breaking down my walls. It's not always easy. So I'm going to keep moving here because the sun is following me. So, okay. Whoa, not helpful there. Okay. So Heaven's Gates Cherry Farm, hello. I'm so glad you're here. So I'm being raw and I'm being real, and I'm probably losing some viewers, and I'm okay with that, because if you don't love me here, that's okay with me. So, when I was at my most broken, I prayed for, so Jennifer, welcome, I'm glad you're here. So I prayed that God help take away my emotions, that I really wanted to. So Lana says, you're not a mess, we're a work in progress and learning from our mess. Agreed. So, well, I am a mess, but definitely learning, definitely growing. So, and I wouldn't want it any other way, because in my brokenness, I am able to grow. So, and just like a plant, like a seed, I've been stuck in the ground and I'm working on my growth, and I don't want to stop growing. So I want this journey to be a part of this, and I want to share this with you so that you guys continue to grow too. So I prayed that God take away my emotions, and I think that to some degree he honored that. So, and I like to think of myself as operating outside of emotion. I try to operate in logic and wisdom and grace and kindness, but not be because I feel a certain way, because I've also realized that feelings, they're like the wind, and they kind of blow all over the place, and how I feel today could change just based on how well I sleep or don't sleep. Something can pop up and just totally rock my world. So Nick says we're all messes. It doesn't mean there is anything inherently wrong with us, though. Agreed. So it's part of our journey. So so Jim says, yep. I'm so glad you guys are here, because I figured I was going to lose everybody. And love you guys if you choose not to follow me because of this. I really truly appreciate those who continue to follow me because of this, because I want you to know that you can be strong too, even when you're weak. That it's okay to cry. It's okay to recognize that we don't have it all together, and that we don't have to have it all together. I have lots of friends that, so Jim says the Bible says love thy neighbor and not shun them. Agreed. So I have tons of friends from all walks of faith and lack of faith, and I love them equally. And by me casting judgment, that does them no good. No good. So Michelle says, I'm not going anywhere. Girl, you inspire me in each video in some way. Oh, thank you. I just adore you, Michelle, and you inspire me too. In fact, all you guys do, and this is why I'm here. So Linda, welcome. You're totally late. That's okay. I'm just thrilled you're here, and I appreciate each and every one of you, because that's why I do these, is really to share with you guys. So Kathy says everyone has a struggle. A lot of people keep them hidden, and that's not healthy. I agree, and I don't want to hide. I want you guys to know me, the real me. I'm not going to pretend to be something that I'm not, and I don't think that does anybody any good. To put up facades and to pretend, that helps no one. And so I'm going to share me, and like I said, I cuss like a truck driver at times. But God loves me despite that. Just like our own children, we don't love them when they're less when they're a mess. We may get frustrated with them. We may want better for them, but we love them regardless. And so I'm thankful for that, because if God only loved us if and when we're perfect, it's not going to happen. And we can't earn our way into heaven. We're told that we are saved by grace and grace alone. And thank God for that, because if it were dependent on us, none of us would make it. So I don't really have anything beyond that. I just wanted to share kind of who I am at the raw core of things. I don't want to make you guys think that I have my act all together. I am continuing to learn. This is what put me in the homesteading and prepping journey, is the realization that I myself am weak. and that I have a whole lot of growth to happen. So Jennifer says our weaknesses are what make us so very human, as are our strengths. Being honest, let's see, about ourselves would save us from this image of perfection we all strive for, right? So, and then Michelle from Serenity Mountain Homestead says, I was the same way when I started my channel and have took a month off to refocus because I found myself trying to be someone I am not, and went through my social media and all to clean and just be a real me. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. So Amanda says, I don't know anyone who has it all together. I don't either. And if they tell you that they do, they're lying. Honestly lying. So that's really all I had to share with you guys today. I'm okay with anybody who chooses to no longer follow me. I love you either way. And I just want to thank each and every one of you who do, those who show up for the live feeds. You just make my day. So Jim says, still here. Thank you. So I want to share all of this because I want you guys to have skills and abilities too. I want you to be strong. I want you, Nancy says, love you too. Oh, Nancy, love you. Thank you so much. So, and by being real, I think that does you guys more service than pretending. So, and I told Julie that when we first got together, is people may not like me. You know, I'm pretty rough around the edges. And she says, nope, you've got a ton to offer this world, so just get out there and share. So Life in the UP says, you're a strong woman. I know it's scary to put yourself out there. It is. I mean, it's really scary because I'm opening myself up to condemnation and criticism, and nobody likes that. Nobody. I'm okay with it, and it's not going to change who I am as a person. I may take some of it to heart, but I'm okay. I'm at peace with who I am, and I'm continuing to grow, and this is part of my journey. So I appreciate you guys being a part of this journey. I hope that there is something here that touched your hearts. This is very unusual for me because I'm usually showing you the works of my hands and the skills that I've gained. If you guys like this, if you want more of the conversation, I'm definitely open to that because I have a lot of thoughts and I'm open to sharing them. But more often than not, I just share with you the skills that I've gained. So let me know if this is kind of a format that you would like, and I'm definitely open to doing more of this. So I love you guys. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you have a wonderful evening, and Kathy says, I think a mix of it. Oh, you're definitely getting my skills still. So that's really what I'm here to do, is share with you so that you too can go out there and do stuff. So Michelle says, I love it all. Thank you. So I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you for joining me. If you guys do have condemnation and criticism, please feel free to leave it. I will most likely respond to it. Jennifer says, I'm here for all of it. Thank you. So I appreciate you guys. Jim, thank you. He says, keep up the great videos. Truly appreciate you guys. So, because I'm not doing this for me. If it were up to me, I'm fairly reclusive. I'm fairly reserved. Like I said, I keep a lot in. I spend a lot of time in this real estate. So Nick says, if any of you are nearby her, go give her a huge hug for me. Thank you, Nick. As Nick hugs me through Facebook groups all the time, and I appreciate him. He's always offering words of wisdom, and he's just really down to earth, and I appreciate him a lot. So that's really all I have for you guys tonight. My heart's been heavy. I've been struggling. I wanted to share that with you. So keep on chugging, and thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you